It is now being recorded.
There it goes.
Okay. All right, Blake, good for you. Is there anybody online who wishes to object to the minutes? All right. We'll wait for Mert to get a treasurer's report. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so the upcoming events that we have happening on Field Day is next on June the 26th. That's Saturday, June the 26th. And we'll spend the majority of the meeting talking about Field Day. The Parks on the Air is July 17th. That's the time when we're going to try and activate all of the flora and fauna parks in Tooele County except one. So one that we can't get to. And we'll try to do all of the rest of them. Our annual summer picnic will be on Saturday, August the 7th. We're planning for Stansbury Pavilion. Mert will check and make sure that we've got a reservation there and for that. And then our next business meeting will be on September the 1st. Wednesday, September the 1st will be our next, our next club meeting. So we will not have a club meeting in August, and we will not have a club meeting in July. But on the other hand, we will have the Parks on the Air Day on July 17th and the picnic on August 7th. Okay. Anybody have any other activities that they know about? All right, well then let's talk a little bit about Field Day. I hope whoever that was is okay. Field Day is probably the largest single event in amateur radio in the world. There will be ham radio operators from all over the world who will be participating on the Field Day activities. There is a quote non-contest going on that day. In other words, the idea is for us to make radio contact with as many other amateur radio operators around the world as possible.
And this is like around the world? They all choose this same day to do it? Or?
Oh yeah, the whole world.
Wow.
Yeah. I've on Field Day I've made contacts all over the world, and there will be a lot of people on. Yeah. So our intent is to have during the day at least 2 radios operating from. It starts at noon on Saturday the 26th, and it goes through noon on Sunday the 27th. But we'll only be operating until about 8 p.m. Saturday evening at the park. The people can choose to operate from home all of the rest of the time if they wish. So the activities that we've got planned for the day. We are going to do some trailer maintenance. There's not much, but there is some that needs to be done. We're going to have at least 2 radios up and operating, and anyone will have who wishes to get on the air will be able to get on the air, because we'll have control operators there who have amateur extra privileges, and they will be able to get people on the air, and they'll be able to make contacts, And we would like to get as many people on the air as we can. Blake Hutchinson.
Sorry. So you're saying I could talk on the radio without my general license? at this event because they would
Yes.
sponsor me? Is
You'll
that-
be able to operate, we'll be operating with the call sign Whiskey 7 Echo Oscar. That's the club call sign. And the control operator will be someone who has an amateur extra license. And so all, so all frequencies and all privileges will be available. And, but you will have the opportunity to operate the radio, make contacts and log them. We're also going to, Blake Hutchinson has agreed to head up the radio operations, and he will be recruiting people to be on the air. He'll be setting things up in half-hour increments, for people to be able to be on the radio and making contacts. And we would like to, if we could, be operating by noon and finish up about 8 p.m. We should be able to get several hundred contacts in that period of time. Before the meeting, before noon, we will do a training session to teach people what the contact exchange looks like, how it sounds, what it's done, what will be happening when you're on the air. We're also going to have some antenna building projects. Jim last month showed us a Slim Jim, and we also showed you some 70 centimeter tape measure Yagi antenna. We're going to have those available to construct. We'll also have available anybody who wants an attenuator, which is really useful for you doing fox hunting. And we're also, anybody who wants, will help them build a Cricket 40 CW transceiver. That's a 40 meter milliwatt CW transceiver. It's a really nice little transceiver. And,
Then you have to learn how to use that thing. Have to learn how to use that.
it's got the key built in.
Hey, Rowan.
Yes.
So what does it cost to build these things?
Okay, next slide is coming up.
Perfect.
We are going to have a fox hunt later that day, and maybe a couple of them with some prizes. Anyone can operate in a fox hunt because all you're doing is listening. There's no transmitting involved in a fox hunt. And of course, we're going to have food. The food is going to be, the club is going to furnish hot dogs and hamburgers, buns, and condiments associated with that. And we will be sending out a link to everyone for you to write down what you are going to bring. So we'll need salads, desserts, beans, whatever, kind of an affair to go with it. So the timeline is we have the park reserved, the pavilion at the park. We have it reserved from dawn until 11 p.m. that evening. We'll actually start to set up about 9 o'clock. We can't set the antennas up before 10. The rules are we can't set up more than 2 hours, the radios more than 2 hours ahead of the event. The event starts at noon. We've got the pavilion reserved, but the rest of the park is not reserved.
Is that the city park?
It's at Settlers Park. I'll show you where that is.
Yeah, it's up on there.
Yeah. And the pavilion is reserved for us. But there is a nice little playground there, and there might be some kids around. And so we do need to make sure the antennas are roped off in such a way that nobody runs through them and hits a guy wire and pulls an antenna down. Okay, so that's the field day. So this is Settlers Park right here. This is La Frontera Restaurant, that defunct Mexican restaurant. Here's what used to be the Hampton Inn, right there, and which is now a Comfort Inn, and this is the Americana Inn, which is now a Quality Inn. But the Settlers Park is right here. It's a very nice parking lot right here. And then there's a pavilion, a nice pavilion and a nice big grassy area for us to
There's a gas station right on the corner.
yeah, there's a gas station.
Just up the hill.
Just
From
up the hill.
South Main Street.
So that's Settlers Park, and that's where we will be holding field day.
So would we put antennas in the trees?
What's that?
Would we like string an antenna in the tree to be able to get up on?
No,
What?
we have kind of like these extendable flagpoles.
Okay,
They're 25 feet kind of flagpoles. So the antennas are going to be up 20, 25 feet in the air. So they're far enough away for people not to, for us to have any particular concern, because we're only going to be operating 100 watts. But these things have guy wires on them. And you get some kids running around in there and they could just run through and trip a guy wire and pull an antenna down.
Or hurt themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hurt themselves is right. So
so what frequencies are we?
what'd you say?
Are we gonna shoot for all frequencies or?
We'll have
Are there-
40, 20, 15, and 10 meter capability. And single sideband as well as CW. Yeah. All right, so that's where. And then here's the next slide. Here's the pricing for the various kits. So the Slim Jim antenna is, if you're a paid up member, it'll be $6.75. You also, if you wish, you have the ability to make a PVC pipe enclosure for it. And that'll be $9.45. The tape measure Yagi is $7.20. The attenuator kit is $10. If you want to buy one already assembled, it's $15. The kit itself is, there's only like 10 or 12 parts. So it's an easy build. The Cricket 40, which is also, by the way, a fairly easy build, is $35. And we'll also have a number of other little connectors available. This SMA to BNC, an SMA to BNC pigtail, SMA male to males and so on, available so that you can connect your radio to whichever antenna you're building. And so if you build the tape measure Yagi, it's going to have a BNC connector on it. And you want to be able to connect your radio to it. And, so you would use some, an adapter to be able to do that connection.
Can you describe the Slim Jim antenna?
What's that?
Can you describe the Slim Jim antenna? Is it a Yagi antenna or is it?
It's a JPO made out of window line. Made out of, lateral line.
And you use that, that's just a 2 meter antenna. It's not used for the fox hunt, right?
Jim's got one. It's car. Bring it in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they are really good with little antennas.
Use a telephone
Telephone wire.
wire.
Yeah, but this little Slim Jim antenna, a lot of people do this, made out of window line. A lot of people just roll it up and use it in a backpack or something when they get someplace to hang it up.
Oh, okay.
If you put it into the PVC enclosure, it then is full. I mean, it's 5.5 feet long, the whole thing, and then you can just stand it up against something or whatever, and you've got a 2 meter antenna. The tape measure Yagi antenna is a true Yagi.
Yeah.
For 77 years. Some of us have built those before. We did that a year and something ago. We built some of those.
I built one, but I wasn't in any contest or anything.
But they're really good fox hunting, and the fox hunts are going to be done on 70 centimeters. So these are really good fox hunting antennas.
What's in the antenna? What attenuator? Is there like a capacitor and an inductor? And
It's got resistors and inductors in it.
Question I have
And you just dial in how much attenuation you want. It's kind of, the resistor is a variable resistor. You just dial in, how much attenuation you want. And then there's just other balancing circuitries with it. Okay,
on
Jim,
my,
Jim,
Hey,
come on in.
Go in there.
Over into here somehow.
the 449 frequency.
448.
Okay,
448.
yeah, so I can go to the 449. England truck drivers and so forth.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll start.
So, 2 meters.
This is the 50 ohm ladder line.
Yeah, turn around so they can see it on the
crazy
camera.
thing, they work on 40 centimeters as well.
That's a Slim Jim antenna right there.
No, this is
No,
a J
that's
pole.
not. That's a pipe.
It's a J pole.
Yeah.
Well, where's the J part?
Well, it's been taped so it doesn't bend, but right here.
It's TV antenna wire. And then
Oh, this is 450 ohm TVs, I think 50 or 75.
we used
So
to
then take
Hey,
this.
Roland,
Yeah.
you need to put that, get your screen share off. Cause all we're seeing is just a little tiny picture of what he's showing. There you go. Now I can see what he's doing. Go ahead. Okay. Ladder line.
450 ohm ladder line.
Okay.
It takes about 5 feet of ladder line.
And then, so this doesn't get ruined, you put it inside of a PC pipe. It's the same thing as what this is in here.
Okay, and so that PVC enclosure, you can build
Just
this,
protects.
you build the antenna and that's a J pole.
And this is a J pole. 1/2 inch copper. And if it was made into a Slim Jim, it would be bent about here over and brought down.
Okay.
I got one at home, but I can't get it SWR down on it for some reason. But
Boy, I
these-
haven't seen one of those since I made one back in the late 90s.
Yeah,
They work great too.
they do. The SWR goes way down.
Yeah.
Those J poles, and the Slim Jim is a very, very nice antenna.
And a lot of them will put this on the back in their trailer hitch on their car.
Yeah.
This here can be any length. This is 3/4 of a wavelength and this is a quarter.
And that 3/4 of a wavelength, the big long part is actually operates kind of like a dipole.
I think it was pretty crazy with a lot of J poles, they'll work on 40 centimeters.
Oh, yes, they will.
And you, to my knowledge, you kind of only tune them for 2 meters, but they work on 40. On my Nano VNA, they have a SWR dip, on the 40 and 70 centimeters, so it works well. I did have a question on the window line. How do you get that down to the 50 ohms?
That's 450 ohm.
450 ohm.
Yeah, so if you're using 450 ohm wire, how do you get the SWR down?
Well, same way as this. This isn't 50 ohm.
The
You're tuning it here.
you
You
attach
tune
it
this one,
at
you
the
gotta
point
hook the,
where it's presenting to you 50 ohms at the feeds.
hook this up to your antenna analyzer and start moving these up and down until your SWR gets down to 1.1.
Yeah, I was just wondering on the window line how you would do that, because
But essentially, you trim about that much window line on each side, and then you move your tuners up and down, tune wires up and down there until you get a match. Yeah.
oh, so you strip the insulation where you.
That's why he's got it taped up.
Oh, okay.
On that one spot where it's cut, it's just one side of that line, and it busts too easy, so I taped it up, just hold it together.
Now, they're not difficult antennas to build, either one of these, they're not difficult to build. They can be, you can build the antenna, the Slim Jim antenna itself in far less than an hour. And we'll have some antenna analyzers there so that you can get it tuned. And we'll have a couple of soldering stations there as well for anybody who needs, once you've got the tuning point fixed, you got to solder the coax into place and then tape it up. Any other questions about the antennas from anybody online? All right. For those of you who thought this meeting started at 7:30, you should have read the body of the email because that's when it really started. My bad.
Your hand.
We won't, I keep rolling away. Okay. All right, so we do have a sign-up sheet that I'll be passing around here. If anybody wants to order, I need to know how much ladder line to buy. And it's 90 cents a foot. And so I need to know how much ladder line to buy. So people who want to build a Slim Jim antenna are going to need to sign up and say so. The rest of it, it's all local buy stuff. Oh, I need to know how many attenuator quick jets too, because I have to order those in. So online tomorrow, will be a sign-up sheet, and there's one available right here. So go ahead and sign up if you've got anything you want to buy, and sign up to go. Okay, let's see. All right, I haven't seen or heard from her yet, so we don't have a treasurer's report. And I don't believe I have anything else in particular to talk about, except
Put it in there. There's that other thing.
on the 17th of July, we're doing this Parks on the Air activity. And I'm looking for, we've got like 12 of these in Tooele County. And so I'm looking for people who would be willing to be a park captain. And, and be responsible for that particular park. So you'll see a questionnaire come around, also in your email and on the website. We'll be asking for people to volunteer for a particular park, and there'll be a list of them. But this will be, this is the 17th of July. This is a Saturday, and we're looking to do the activation during the morning. Morning period of time, and there are two of them over in the Wendover area that we're particularly interested in getting activated, and hopefully we can get some folks from Wendover to be involved, in doing this. Okay. For field day, see, Blake's going to work on the radio side. Rex, you volunteered. I'm going to let you kind of work with me on logistics. Okay, getting stuff there and that sort of thing. We do need to cook food, and Mert has agreed to bring her grill. Okay, so we got that covered. We've got some other stuff we got to figure out. In all of that activity. On the food side, who is our grill master?
Well, only if you use a tracker. Set it and forget it, but.
Yeah, well, that's not what we got, but I need a grill meister. So, is there anybody online that feels like that they're a grill meister and could be responsible for running that,
No,
running
says,
that grill?
no, says Roger. You're it,
All right.
Roland.
Well, no, it's not me. We've got to find somebody.
Yeah, you'll find
So,
somebody.
you know, that's gonna be willing to do that. All right. Okay, is there any other business that anybody wants to bring up today?
I was-
Roland, because Mert's not there. She said something, I think, during the earlier meeting about the hats and the t-shirts. Can you still get them or is it too late?
That's a good thing you brought that up.
That can be my question.
Okay, so. You know, all of you can probably see that wonderful T-shirt that my wife is wearing. Or, you know, the one that I have, huh? Yep,
And you.
okay. But we just happen to have a couple of these in stock. Ready to be embroidered with your name and your call sign. The embroidery fee is $5. The shirt itself is $50. And I've got a 1X and a 2X. And we also have the ability to order these. And they come with this logo already on them. And then $5 to embroider on your name and your call sign over on the other side. And that's it's a $55 deal. Hats are, I believe, were $20. And Mert's ready to put in that order. Now, we'll order them at any time, but we need to order them in batches of 10. Kind of fair in order to get the pricing we want. So if you're interested in a hat, they're nice hats. Let us know, particularly let Mert know if you're interested in a hat.
How much are they?
I think they're $20. Yeah.
Okay, so just email Mert, I guess, as far as that goes, get a hold of her.
Or you can email me,
Okay,
and if the price is different, I'll let you know. It won't be more than that, but it might be less than that. I just don't remember what the
okay, understood.
pricing is. But she's planning, I think, to place that order later this week for the first set. And if anybody wants one of these shirts, let me know as well. And we'll get it embroidered for you and get it to you.
Roland,
Yes.
it's Roger.
Yeah, Roger.
Mert just sent me a message. Her husband, Dan, has fallen and hurt his back. She will not be on the meeting at all today, but you can go ahead and email her if you want to get in contact with her.
Okay, well, shoot. Hopefully her husband's okay.
Yeah, really.
That's not fun. No, not at all. Thanks for that information, Roger.
So I did have a question. Now, we have a year till we have to submit to the FCC as far as our emissions from our radios. Is that
Okay, so
correct?
you're asking about the RF emissions thing?
Yes.
Okay. The rule is, as effective May the 3rd, if you make any change to your station, you you have to immediately do an RF study on your station. If you don't make any change to your station, which is change to your radio, to the feed line or antenna, if you don't make any change, then you've got 2 years to make the assessment. But if you make any change to your system, you have to do it immediately.
Okay.
Doesn't sound good, huh?
Isn't that kind of a on your honor system too? I don't think they require you to submit it to the FCC, but
No,
you're
you
supposed
don't
to.
have to submit it. You just have to have it in your station log.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now, quite frankly, the only time I can actually see something happening is if you've got a neighbor unhappy with your antenna. You know, you got this 50-foot, 20-element Yagi beam up on the top of this 50-foot antenna. And if your neighbor is unhappy with it, he can complain to the FCC. The FCC will ask for your RF analysis. And if you've got one and it's done correctly, the FCC will tell your neighbor, he's fine.
A lot of them buy the cheap phones and
If you don't have one, then it could potentially fine you. So, quite frankly, that's the only time I could see something happening with this, is if you've got an unhappy neighbor with your antenna system.
So as long as you don't have lightning shooting off your antenna, you'll be okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
And most of us are running 100 watts. And by the time it gets from the radio to the antenna, you're running 50 watts, with the antenna. So it's a really easy calculation to make. Now, if you're running a kilowatt, 1,500 watts, you got one of those superstations, then I think it might be a little bit more interesting to do the RF exposure analysis. Okay. Any other questions? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make it.
Gene May has motioned that we adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
Rex Carr is seconded. Is anybody opposed? All right, we're done, gentlemen.
Have a good week. Everybody keep cool.
Absolutely. Stay cool. Stay hydrated.
Yeah.